Hello, and welcome to the presentation for the R3 Academy. I would like for you to consider to take some notes if you need it, and make sure that you are not in an area where you can be distracted. And of course, you don't need to mess with your mic, no need for that. So I would like for you to consider to invite your spouse as well to this presentation, since will be important for you at some point to decide if the R3 Academy for Fathers will be better for you, or maybe the couples classes. This presentation will be about the fatherhood or the father's class for the R3 Academy. So let's begin. And again, welcome to this session. And today we'll be talking about what is the R3 Academy, what's in it for you, and how can you apply for this course. This should be about a 15-20 minute presentation. So first of all, this funding actually comes from the Department of Human Assistance and Families. And our organization, Healthy Relations California, which is a nonprofit organization, is the one managing the grant, so we can bring this developed material we've been developing for many, many years. And we invested a lot of money to develop and bringing the best for fathers to develop communication skills, which I will describe in a minute. So HRC is the one bringing the R3 Academy with all the materials and teaching, and everything is completely free for you because it's covered by this grant. So what is the R3 Academy? The R3 Academy basically deals with the three most important relationships for most men: relationship with their kids, relationship with their spouses, and relationship with their co-workers. And you have three options for you to take this class. You can do it through a live stream or Zoom, which you could at the end I will talk to you a little bit more about it, how it works and how you can apply for this specific class. But we have Zoom classes going on often, and you can choose. These classes normally are once a week for 2 hours for about 3 months. And the same thing goes for the in-person classes. But again, this is the options that you have. You have the live stream through Zoom. You have the on-demand, which are pre-recorded, and you can take it at any time at your own pace. And then we have the in-person classes, which vary depending where you're located. Most of these in-person classes are located if it's in the Northern California area, will be near the Sacramento County. And if it's in Southern California, we have more locations over there, San Diego, Los Angeles, and other counties over there. But we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. These classes are highly interactive, meaning that either you take these classes in person or online. We have a way to keep you engaged. We have a way for us to teach these classes in a way that you can enjoy them. These classes are fun, and we offer these classes in English and in Spanish as well. This images that you're seeing right now is me teaching in a Spanish class. I had a chance to take pictures, but we offer, and we have many instructors that can teach these classes either in Spanish or English. So one of the things I want to share is that one of the main things we teach in this class are communication skills. And basically, those are, as you probably know, ways for you to communicate it in the most effective way. You can talk to your kids or your spouse or coworkers in a way that they want to listen to you. You learn how to listen in a way that you can understand really the thoughts, concerns, desires of the other person. You learn how to even read a little bit of the body language of your spouse or kids, especially when they're trying to communicate with you. We not only teach you how to do these communication skills through demonstrations, but through practice as well. You have the opportunity to sit with the other students in the class, either on Zoom or in person. So if it's through Zoom, you're probably familiar or heard before about the Zoom rooms or that allow us to pair fathers or students inside of a private virtual room where they can practice some of these communication skills, or if you come to a live class, this will be something similar to the one you've seen here in the image. So you get to learn about the skills, we get to demonstrate to you how it is done, you get to practice, and then we process at the end of each skill that you learn. We have different skills, communication skills we teach. Basically, they have three main purposes. One is to not only to learn how to listen, learn how to say things in a very effective way to the other person, or deliver a message, a non-blaming message, and you learn how to resolve conflicts. Those are other skills that we teach you. So our classes are not only about communication skills. You learn about how to manage your finances. There are a lot of good information, not only about how to put together a budget, how to pay your bills in the most effective ways, and many other tips and suggestions we provide you, so and techniques that we share with you that will help you to pay your bills and pay your debts and even faster. Another thing we teach you in this course, and we dedicate time to it, is how to get a job. And if you already have a job, how to get a better job, or how to grow inside of this position, how to get along better with your coworkers. And there's another new section that we added, is had to do with technology. How can you deal with the screen time that that your kids sometimes spend in front of the TV, video games, and so on and so forth, the cell phones? How to manage this time and how to deal with other issues related to technology. So it's a very interesting course that brings the best of parenting classes. Most parenting classes, sometimes they focus either on the couple, or they focus only on the disciplines of the kids, but this actually combines both. You learn how to have a better communication with your spouse, and you learn how to discipline your kids in a completely different way, instead of punishing, screaming, and all these things that they seem effective at first will not have a long-lasting effect on our kids. And researchers show that the better the relationship between you and your spouse, the better is for the kids. So that's one of the main goals in our classes. So when you attend to each session, most sessions are weeknights, okay, once a week, weeknights, and sometimes they go from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a 2-hour session, or 6:30 to 8:30, or 7 to 9. It all depends the class you select, if it's in person or online, and so on and so forth. But many times there's more flexibility when it comes to the online classes. So again, we start on time, we finish on time, and then we provide homework every week. We try not to pack too much information during the class. We prefer to provide some lessons and lessons and practice. And we give you homework for you to read once a week, every week. And that way you enhance your learning. And when you come to the next session, you come better prepared and absorb most of the information we provide to you. All right, so some of the incentives we give you a polisher, a shirt, a very nice one. We provide you with a keychain, pen, and a little notebook that would allow you to check all the skills that you either learn or plan to practice during the week. Another thing we provide you is, and here I will pause for a second to explain this. As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, there are 2 courses that we offer. We offer the classes for fathers, which is the R3 Academy for fathers, and we offer the R3 Academy for couples. So at this point, as one of the incentives, once you complete, in this case, the father's classes, a couple of months after that, you get offered a link for the on-demand couples class, which is awesome. in here you have to make it, not necessarily at this point, but later you need to make a decision. And that's why I ask you to watch this with your spouse and decide if it will be better for you to take the father's class with some information about, relationship, communication skills with your spouse and so on and so forth, or only take the class for couples. So again, the fathers only focus in discipline and a little bit about relationship with your spouse, and the couples class, which I will explain a little bit later, focus on the relationship between you and your spouse. All right, so this is one of the incentives. Once you complete the class, you have access to the online, to the on-demand version for the couples class, not the live class and not the Zoom class. The funding that we get for our participants, it only allows for students to go only once for one, and pick only one of the courses. All right, so we realized, so many of the parents that come to our classes come with some fears, concerns, and issues that they would like to see resolved in their families. And at this moment, I just want to share some of these concerns so you can start thinking in your own situations that you would like to see resolved, because these are the kind of situations you might be able to bring to class with the instructor to help you to maybe deal or apply some of the communication skills that we'll be teaching you. So, for example, one of the dads said, "My son doesn't take no for an answer, and everything he has to, in everything he has to, he has to argue about everything." So this is something that you probably relate to if you have teenagers. Teenagers easily likes to argue their point, and this is something that stress many families, especially parents. When you come to these classes, you learn communication skills that allow you not only to listen effectively to some of these concerns that your kids or your spouse bring to you, but you get equipped with a series of tools that you might be able to use for each situation. This dad shares that how to make my teenager understand what I say. They think he is always right. And many times as parents, we believe that we communicate. We have sometimes the illusion that we communicate, when in reality, the words we use, the tone we use, sometimes it's not the most effective way to communicate either something that you want your teenager to do or understand. And of course, another thing that we parents learn how to do is to be a more active kind of a parent, where you start expanding the limits and you start expanding the boundaries and discipline as the kids start growing and developing. You cannot treat your 5-year-old just the same way as your 12-year-old. They are two different development of their brain and situations, and you will be able to utilize these skills and apply them depending on where their brain development are at that point. Another situation some of the parents sometimes bring, like this one, for example, says, let's see here, let's see. Okay, great. It says, the next one will be cell phone and time with the video games. How do I know how long to leave them on the cell phone or electronics? Which bring me again to one of the sections that we teach our parents. It's a whole section about this new digital era that we live in. If you probably remember, you and I possibly did not have some of the same issues that our kids have to deal with right now. When we grew up, we probably didn't have we didn't have probably a cell phone. We didn't have all the social media that the kids have to deal with right now. And they have their own social issues that they have to deal with that we didn't have to. And so I'm just trying to understand that, help us to manage not only the time, but the way and the things they have access to. and how we can keep a balance between limiting our kids or limiting the access of some of this media and things that are shaping the mind and the hearts of our kids. And so we learn skills to how to manage and understand how all that works. How to get out of the monotony of my relationship. How to get out of the monotony of my relationship. How to break this cycle that some relationships have. Of sometimes you can sit next to your spouse, and sometimes you don't have much to talk about. And sometimes developing some of these communication skills would allow you to open your heart and share your thoughts, your feelings, concerns, desires to your spouse. Many men go through their relationship, their entire relationship, not being able to share any of this because they're either afraid or they don't know how to, or every time they try to share something, it's misunderstood. And if that is a situation, there are ways for you to be able to share all of this in a very meaningful and practical way with your spouse, and listen to her wishes, concerns, and desires as well. Moving along, other concern that you might relate to is how to be patient with your young children. As I mentioned before, our kids go through different um, uh, stages of development of their brain, and we as parents understanding that will help us not to get frustrated when our kids don't understand what we're trying to ask them to do or to understand, or so on and so forth. How can I get my children to respect me without them being afraid of the way I talk to them? This is a concern of many parents throughout the years. I heard similar statements where sometimes it's difficult for some men to control their anger or even their tone of voice when they try to convey information to their kids or their spouses. Sometimes it doesn't come out the right way. And when this happened, there might be some frictions in the relationship. And when you learn skills that will help you to stop, think, and sometimes rephrase what you said, it can make a huge difference in a relationship. And when you learn even techniques of how to control your anger even before you say certain things, can make a big difference in the relationship as well, in the message you're actually trying to deliver. How can I shape my children's values and have a solid quality relationship to for the rest of our lives? Very meaningful when you're trying to pass or transfer some of your values, family values, moral values, spiritual values to your kids. And sometimes it's necessary for you to know how to share some of these values so your kids can understand them and decide if this is something they want to implement in their own life, or the life of their own children in the future. The biggest challenges is with my wife says this, dad, to reach an agreement. How can we reach an agreement without getting into a fight? Very interesting. Many times we try to be on the same page when it comes to discipline at home, but when you cannot be at the same level, or um, ask your kids to do certain things and mom disagreed because she doesn't want you to either do it this way or that way, is very important that both parents are in the same page when it comes to discipline. Otherwise, kids learn how to push your buttons and manipulate the relationship. So knowing these things can give us an advantage of knowing how to utilize some of these skills that you learn in class. So some of the value that some parents get out of these classes, for example, we again survey and research all this information we get out of these classes from the parents. And what we, after thousands and thousands of participants for the last 15 years, over 250,000 of them, we found that many parents end with a significant increase in time spent with their children. parents understand the value of spending quality time with their kids, and a significant increase in their use of the healthy discipline skills. No need to yell, scream, punish. There are many other methods that parents can use that can sometimes not necessarily always learn to negotiate. There are things that you would not be able to negotiate, but there are other things that you will encourage your kids to learn through discipline, like acquiring, being responsible for their decisions, and many other things. Um, Significant increase in healthy communication with the romantic partner. Like I said before, the better communication skills that you develop with your spouse, the better the connection, the better the relationship with your spouse, the better for your kids. Significant increase in the quality of co-parenting with the mother of your kids, of the children. This is something that I see often when some parents that don't live with the biological mother of their kids, and they need to have a healthy relationship with her because they understand the importance of uh, basically the research that I mentioned before, that is very important for the best outcome of our kids, that we as parents, as adults, have a healthy relationship ourselves first. Significant increase in the ability to apply for a job and be able to pay their bills. So this is two other areas that I mentioned already that we cover in our classes. And so many parents, after completing these classes, find very useful learning how to go through an interview, learn how to put together a resume, how to answer some of the questions, how to apply the communication skills they learn in these classes to gain advantage over other people applying for the same position. Or when it comes to paying their bills, how to discover some of the uh, holes sometimes in the it's like a sometimes it's like a water coming out of the pipe through a crack, and we don't know where that money is coming going to. Many parents, I heard many parents before say, you know what, I know how to make money. I have no problem with that. The problem is just keeping that money. So in this class, you'll learn how to keep some of that money, how to make money work for you instead of you working for the money. So now I share already information about what the R3 Academy is, how we pay for each participant to come into the class, how what are the options you have to take these classes in regards to if it's online or on demand and so on and so forth. And I share a little bit about the contents of the classes. We go in more details the first day of class. In the meantime, at this point, I just want to share with you some of the four steps. There are 4 steps for you to um, get admitted in one of these classes. The first step you have to go through is to complete the eligibility survey. And that's very simple. All you got to do is just to go to www.r3academy.org. And then this is where you and your spouse decide which of the 2 courses you want to take, if it's a father one or the couples one. If you decide to go through the couple, which is the scope of this presentation, I will move further and I'll explain to you how to do that. The couples is very similar. It has a couple of different requirements. So once you get to their website, you locate this button that says California Adapts Enrollment here. Once you click there, you'll see this eligibility survey. Once you complete this, this is the very first step. You complete the very first step. And this is, let me pause here for a second. This is a part that many parents, many dads sometimes think, you know what, I don't know, because at this point, I don't know if they're going to be a class available for me the day that I want. It doesn't matter. At this point, just apply. And the reason for that is that this space are limited. We only admit about 20, 25 participants per class. And these classes sometimes feel really, really quick. So, and this process is a little bit lengthy. It takes, you know, a few weeks for you to get enrolled because there's different steps. So once you complete this first step, you put your name, phone number, and other questions that they ask, you already complete the first step of the admission. So it's very important that you complete this even if you change your mind later on and decide either not to come to the class or come at a later time, at least you're already in the system and you save time. So very important at this point is that this form will ask you to provide a phone number and email address. Make sure that the phone number and the email address are correct for two main reasons. Number one, the next 2 or 3 steps will be connected to your email address. So once you provide the email address, I will send you the next steps after that. And if you apply for the class, you qualify. Let me mention now the things that qualify you to come into this class. Number one, you have to be a California resident. Number two, you must be a father figure. Father figure is someone that basically mentor a minor of 25 years old or younger. So if you are an uncle, a granddad, a grandfather, or a father or a new father, you qualify for this class. And the second reason why you need to provide a good email address is because once you go through the course and you complete 90% of the course, which I was surprised that I didn't see that slide. So let me stop here for a second and share that another incentive is if you complete 90% of the class, you get $50 just for completing 90%, most of the class, 90% of the class. And they give you a $90 Kohl's card. And they will send that card to your email address. And that's very important for you to provide a good email address. Otherwise, you won't be able to get that. There is a second card they give you if you go through the survey at the beginning of the class or the beginning of this process that I mentioned, that I'm about to mention, which is step 2. If you complete that survey and the last survey at the end of the course, then you are eligible to get a $25 Kohl's card. 3 months after the class is over, you get a third card for another $25 just to answer more survey questions. So basically you get $100 between coming to most of your class and answering some questions. So sorry, I missed that slide. I didn't see it. So I think it was a good segue here to mention it. Now, so we're clear. Step number 1, complete the survey. Step number 2, you will receive a privacy law statement. Basically, it's a document that allows us to ask you the survey questions. And you will receive the first phone call once you complete this letter and you send it to us via email. And that will trigger us to give you a call and schedule the first of 2 more surveys. So you took the first survey online. Now you need 2 surveys over the phone, and that's step 3. Step 3 is basically a telephone interview that will be about demographics, and it will be an opportunity for you to take the second survey at this point, or just take 1. If you decide to take 1, this is it. You complete this, then you make a schedule to take survey number 2. If you say, no, let me just take both surveys right now, and I'm done with that. So you can do that as well. Each survey is about 40 to 45 minutes each. So let's say, for example, say, no, I'm just going to go through demographic survey this time, just finish the survey. I did the first one online. I did this one now. And now I just want to, schedule the second survey over the phone for another time. You can do that as well, which is the second phone call that you get. The second telephone interview will be about your relationship with your kids or your children. At this point, they will ask you about your contact information. They want to make sure they have the correct name, the correct address, because they're going to send you the polo shirt that I mentioned before and all the other, goodies that I mentioned. And then at this point is when they offer you when, where, and you will be getting this, in what kind of course you will be getting. So if it's an online, this is the way they offer it. They normally offer it first, the in-person class, if that's what you want. No, I want an in-person class. It all depends where you're located. If we have an instructor teaching near you, you decide if you want to go to that site. The second offer most of the time is Zoom one or online one. And that one will be up to, or depending on the schedule, if we have an instructor teaching that class in your language, English or Spanish, and if you agree, and they will schedule you for that one, and they put you on the list for that class. And before the class start, they give you another call to remind you. And if you prefer, no, I don't want to wait, I just want to take an on-demand class, pre-recorded, you can do that, and you can go at your own pace. And again, they want to confirm your email address because your physical address, because they want to send you the books. There are about 4 or 5 books that they sent you for the entire course, for any of the courses we have, the online, on demand, or in person. So what's the next step? What the next step is basically going to the www.r3academy.org, select the course that you want. In this case, possibly the fatherhood one. You click the yellow icon, and that will take you to the survey. Complete the survey, and that's the first step. And after that, the rest of the stuff will be explained to you. So normally at this point, I have a Q&A because I normally do this live. In this case, I will provide you with my phone number, which is 916-905-0720. 905-0720, 916. And you can call me and text me if for any reason you want for me to do this live with you or answer some more specific questions. Feel free to text me and I can actually schedule something with you. I'll send you a link to my calendar and you can schedule something at your convenience within the dates and times that I have available. Or you can simply send me an email at my first name, E.D. like in door, I-X-O-N, Edixon, at relationships with an S, ca.org. Edixon at relationshipsca.org. Well, it's been a pleasure sharing this information with you. If you have further questions, you know what to do. Thank you.